Welcome to another episode of Ensight Talks. I am Ollie from Ensight, and for today we have a very interesting guest with us. Jasmeet, I would like you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello everyone, my name is Jasmeet and I am an electronics engineer currently studying in IP University in Delhi, and I'm mainly in the field of robotics.
Right. Today we'll be discussing a very interesting topic that is around robotics. Right. So, starting with it, so what is robotics according to your understanding, and what fields of engineering does robotics cover?
Okay, in general, when we say robotics, so generally the Iron Man like characters come into mind, and so basically, robot is anything that can sense the environment, think, and then act upon those data that it collects. So everything which can make decisions by itself and does some work is a robot. So like even your dishwasher, your washing machines, they can be considered as a robot because they can sense stuff and they can think and take some decisions and do some stuff. So yeah, that is all robotics. And the fields of engineering that like robotics is can be considered as a umbrella field, and it consists of mainly three fields of engineering, which are electronics and electrical engineering and mechanical engineering, and it also consists of software engineering because like whenever you want to talk to machines, you need some kind of language, and that language is basically software engineering.
Okay, basically this is like it is an umbrella field, and ये
Yeah.
basically EC is specific, or it is not like towards electronics only.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's like everything is required in robotics. Even like in software, you need computer vision, AI, ML, and in electronics, you need to know about embedded systems, power systems, battery management. And from a mechanical point of view, you need to know about CAD, 3D printing, fabrication, and making like gear trains and gearboxes. How does some mechanisms work? Everything that is needed is in robotics.
Right. It's like a very basic question. So what got your interest in robotics in the first place?
Yeah, like from the starting, like I was highly interested in hardware-based things. Like I liked opening up things and like taking them apart, and I liked handling tools like soldering and drilling and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And but then when I got introduced to software and coding, then that also lit up some interest in me. So that way, like I was trying to find a field which had a good mixture of both of these things, and that way, like I had some experience of building some basic robots using line following robots and stuff like that
Mhm.
from workshops,
Yeah.
and I knew a little bit about robotics. And then obviously, like most of the youth is like into Iron Man and superheroes, Transformers,
Mhm.
and that really makes one interested in the field like robotics. Yeah.
True. What was your very first project that got you deeply interested? Well, very
Like
first project that you made.
Yeah, one of the very first projects which I made between the time period of giving the JEE paper and before the college admissions was a themed project which was from the Harry Potter movies, and like it was also a bit related to robotics. So basically, what it does was it had like I had a wand, a Harry Potter wand, which my brother got from Universal Studios, and it had a retro-reflective end. So basically, retro-reflective end is a kind of reflector, which we all know like the law of reflection, angle of
Mhm.
incidence equals to angle of reflection. But a retro-reflector is something that sends the reflected ray parallel to the incident ray. So
Oh, okay.
that it had a retroreflective tip, and
Uh-huh.
so what happens was that in when you roam inside Universal Studios, there are certain locations where there were infrared cameras and they could detect the end of the wand, and track it, and people could make gestures and do stuff. So
Oh, that's good.
yeah, so my brother got that wand, and like he handed it to me and said, make this yourself. Like he saw this, and you have to make it. So yeah, and that's how I got into Python, and I got into object tracking, computer vision, and I made got a Raspberry Pi, which is a single board computer, and like I had a infrared camera and created a 3D printed encasing for it. And so basically it blasted infrared rays, and the reflective end of the wand is visible as a blob inside the video, which can be tracked using computer vision. And so like I remember I had to train ML model for handwritten character recognition so that it could detect the characters person is writing in the air. So like for A stands for Alohomora, and it will open a box. So I found a data set for handwritten characters, and my laptop wasn't even capable of loading the whole data set at a time, so I had to like strip it down quite a bit. And I got a decent accuracy, about 92% of accuracy. So I just took a box, the box in which you get sweets when you get an invitation for a marriage. I took that box and I covered it with some chart papers and made it Harry Potter themed. And yeah, so just I had a camera, and whenever I hold the wand in front of it and I make an A with gestures, the gesture recognition detects it, and accordingly it opens or closes the box.
Yeah, I remember. Like for those who don't know, Jasmeet was in my school, and when I was giving JEE, I came across this project, and हम सब तो we were like ये क्या बना दिए भाई, ये बन भी सकता है क्या? So yeah, he was so like ऐसे he was a buzz कि भाई इसने तो क्या बना दिया भाई, he's the next Tony Stark or something. So yeah, you told कि ऐसे this robotics is a very umbrella field कि मतलब इसमें mechanical भी participate कर सकता है, electronics भी कर सकता है, electrical भी कर सकता है, CSE भी कर सकता है, and to some extent production और industrial भी कर सकते हैं because जो rapid prototyping होती है वगैरह, right? So speaking on a very general term, what are the scopes for robotics like in present or in the future? Because we mostly in engineering college we mostly hear about या तो finance में जाओ or go to coding or go for things such as operations or communications or वो soft skill वाला. So we never really hear about robotics as a core career choice. So what do you think are the scopes for robotics in today's time or in future? Or speaking on in a very general term, like the kind of terms people might associate more to, like how lucrative is robotics as a field, like in terms of placement, in terms of internships, or in terms of research purposes. So yeah.
Yeah. So first, in terms of research purpose, like robotics is quite huge. So if you know, many colleges, even in Delhi, like Triple IT Delhi and IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay especially, they are doing quite a bit of research in robotics. So everything the era of electric vehicles is coming up, and with electric vehicles come self-driving cars, and self-driving cars is all about robotics because
Right.
they are sensing, they are thinking, and they are making decisions of their own. So, the future of robotics is quite huge, and the industry is quickly adapting robotics because with the increasing population and increasing demand, you need automation, and wherever there is automation, there is robotics. From so many industries like warehouses and logistics industry, packaging industries, they all use robotic arms to pick up stuff and place them accordingly, packing stuff and taking. So like Amazon has huge warehouses, and yeah, and to manage that, Amazon has a separate company which is Amazon Robotics, which makes robots to manage those warehouses where where those robots can pick stuff and take them all over the warehouse and place them wherever they are required. So as an industrial and research point of view, robotics is becoming quite huge nowadays. And also the robotics is now entering the household industry also. So if you know, like Roomba is a cleaning robot, and it's quite
Yeah.
famous. And it is a very basic level robot which can clean the floor, and many kind of like cleaning robots and companion robots are coming up, so that are targeting many mental diseases also for older people and for people suffering from depression also. So they are acting like a companion for them. So yeah,
Like,
robotics as a field is coming up. Yeah,
right, right. So, मतलब, ये सब सुन के like robotics seems like a very tempting field.
yeah.
So, but a very basic question arises. So, if I'm a beginner or I want to get into robotics, so what roadmap would you chart out for me? Like, if I want to get into robotics, what all I should do, what all I should follow?
Okay, so a basic rule of thumb which I follow, like for anyone in any field, not even in robotics, but in any field, is that you should follow the concept of project-based learning, because you cannot learn by only just reading books and going through documentation. It won't, like, you can then know stuff, but till you don't use it, it won't do anything for you. And so yeah, project based learning, that is, you learn by making projects, actually implementing the knowledge that you got. So that is a basic requirement in any field. And in robotics also, similarly, you have to make projects and you have to like get your hands dirty into things. Then you can learn about the field. So that is a basic roadmap. And but the thing that I like found out by making projects for some years in robotics is that robotics is a field where you cannot ignore the theory, like,
Hmm.
because it is a new field and quite a lot of theory, quite a lot of maths and physics goes into making the mechanisms and making building the robots, and
Right.
that theory cannot be ignored, because
Hmm.
like the because if a robot does not work in a simulation, there are no direct ways of figuring out the problem, because it won't always be a error in the software. It can also be a conceptual error which can only be figured
True.
out if you are aware of the theory. So reading the theory of robotics is quite important. And then yeah, project based learning is the best thing that you can do to get acquainted. Like, there are many open source frameworks that are coming up in robotics, because like, so the main thing that stopped people till now from getting into robotics is that it takes investment, uh,
Hmm.
time and financial both.
Financial
Because
investment.
yeah, because if you want to work in robotics, you need hardware, and for hardware you need investment. So,
Hmm.
but now what is happening is that there are many open source frameworks that are coming up for robotics, and they are all simulation based. And
Oh,
those and you can consider those simulations as real world robots only, because
like
those
as close
simulations,
to reality.
yeah,
Huh. Okay.
they are quite close to reality. Like, if you have built a software that works on simulation, you can be 90% sure that it will work on hardware. Only some bit of tuning will be required.
Hmm.
So if you want to get into robotics, you should definitely look into open source simulators and open source robotics frameworks.
Right. Okay. So here you talked about majorly two things. First is so project-based learning, and second is learning the theory. Like the basic thing is to learn the theory. So what would you suggest? Like what are some great resources, some books or video courses that you think are good at dispensing this knowledge to an beginner in this field?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not like I haven't been through any of the video courses online that are available, but like I've been reading some books, and I have found some books that are quite known in the robotics community, and they can
Right.
be. So there is one book which I found in my college only. It's not from a famous author, but it's about robotics planning, control, and it's mainly centered around robotic arms. And
Hmm.
it's from, I don't remember the name of the author correctly, but yeah, it's from an Iraqi author, and it's a quite good book for robotics theory. And there's a book about robotics motion and planning from an author at Cambridge University, and that book is also like quite known for its detailed mathematics about robotics. Because quite high level mathematics is used in robotics calculations. And for the resources, I would suggest that there is a open source robotics framework which is known as ROS. It's an acronym ROS, and it stands for Robot Operating System. So it is basically a distributed framework, and it is used for building robotic systems. And it is so that is the framework I started with, and I'm still working on it. My internship is based on that framework only, and most of the projects that I am working on, they are based on ROS, and like it is quite widely used. And now the industry is also adapting ROS, so it is a good way to start into robotics. And there are like many open source simulators, like Gazebo is a simulator. It is a robotic simulator, and it can be used with it. It has a very good integration with ROS, and it can be used for building projects. And the ROS community is quite helpful and quite new, so you have a chance of making good contributions and making yourself known in the community if you do some work. So quite a it's a great time to get involved in that community.
Right, right. Okay, so yeah, the second thing was that project-based learning. So what would be some like projects that you would suggest? Like, which there would be like some projects that might be project programs, like just say in the field of open source, people can say you can contribute to Outreach or GSOC or prepare for some other field. Just like you can build your career in or
Yeah.
get into this domain of open source. So similarly, like, are there any such programs or projects in robotics which can help people to prepare or get to know about robotics?
Yeah, there are like numerous competitions that happen all over the year, and even in GSOC. So the organization which maintains ROS and Gazebo, it comes in GSOC also. It's the Open Source Robotics Foundation, and there are like they bring the ROS project and the Gazebo project as the projects in GSOC, and you can like contribute in their frameworks, and you can help build the simulator. So GSOC is a good way to get acquainted with the technology, with the community. And apart from that, there are many competitions that happen throughout the year. So one competition which has helped me quite a lot is the Intra Robotics competition, which is organized by IIT Bombay. And
Oh,
yeah, it goes on for like 6 months. So it is a 6 month long competition, and like it is generally it contains of 5 to 6 tasks, and each task gives you like 1 month, and you have to build a very like detailed project and based on a real world industrial problem, and then like it helps you learn quite a lot. And apart from that, there are many international organizations. Even NASA organized a competition which was based on ROS on making a simulation of a humanoid robot on Mars, which can like operate instruments and like lay down solar panels, inspect the like the temporary habitat for leakages and decrease in air pressures and some, assembly of tools and something like that. So like people had to write the software for controlling that humanoid robot and doing all these tasks, and it was quite a large competition. And the surprising thing is that the person who won was they like it had a team limit of about 10 to 20 people, and the team which won, it had only one person.
oh, that is so interesting. That is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on to our next question. This was like a very frequently asked question. What is the role of a person's college in their journey in robotics, or how does it shape a person's intellect or uh, thinking towards robotics
Okay.
in general?
Yes. So the thing that I have noticed that is robotics as a course is not available in many colleges in India. So like you can find mechatronics and some other courses, but they are also not in many colleges. Like my college doesn't even have any course related to that. But like I said, that it is an umbrella field. So if you are interested in robotics, you can take any of the engineering field related to robotics, and you can consider it as your specialization. So like if you are from a mechanical background, then your college can, like, your studies, your curriculum can help you get acquainted with all the stuff that is related to mechanics, and all the, like, using the CAD softwares and fabricating all the stuff that you think about and bringing it to life actually, and all that can help you uh, to get in the field of robotics. And one thing that I like, the major thing which college provides you is not the curriculum, is not the education, it's the community and the people around
Mm,
you. So if so that is the main thing that you have to find. You have to find people who can tune with you and who, like, you think alike to you, and that's what you need from a college. So if there are teachers, if there are like your peers, if they are like you, then it's the best college for you.
okay, so matlab, out of all the things, community is something which a college can really give you to support you in
Yeah.
this journey.
Yeah,
Right, right.
I
So yeah,
strongly
moving
believe
on to
in communities. Yeah, I really
right.
strongly believe in communities because most of the things that I have learned is from communities only. Like my
Mm,
college, no subject is related to robotics in my college, and like teachers and even students, no one even knew about ROS. So,
uh,
like, all everything that I have got is from internet and from
community,
communities only.
community.
Yeah.
Right. That is nice. Yeah. So yeah, moving on to some personalist questions. Right. So, what is your favorite project that you have ever made, or a project that you really liked working on?
Yeah, so like there are many projects. So like whenever you work on a complicated project, that becomes your favorite, and so this the my answer will change every year. So currently, like currently the project which I'm working on, it is one of the most complicated projects, and like it is also for the Yantra competition, and so the problem statement was basically we have to make a robot which can go into an agricultural field, and it can take out weeds like the unwanted plants, and it can plant seeds autonomously.
Yeah.
And it is not supposed to be only one robot, it's supposed to be a fleet of robots.
Oh,
So you have to provide goals, and your software should be intelligent enough to allocate goals to the robots so that they can achieve all goals efficiently in the minimum is in as minimum time as possible. And yeah, and you have to, like, make mechanisms for weeding and seeding, planting seeds, taking out weeds. So like it contains everything: fleet management, making robotic arms, making mobile robots, and even the tech stack which we are using, it's based on a programming language which is known as Elixir. And
oh, Elixir.
yeah, so like it's not like the conventional programming languages that we are familiar with, like Python and C++. They are like Elixir is a functional programming language. So like everything is a function in this language, and it
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
even have loops. So it's quite
Oh,
difficult and like quite a big change from Python to Elixir. Yeah, but like it's a quite interesting language. Even like it's based on an older language which is known as Erlang, 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 and the backend of WhatsApp is written in Erlang.
oh, oh, that is something new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, for the viewers who don't know, Jasmeet once made a hologram projection for the Starlink satellite that SpaceX is building. So, yeah, would you like to tell us something about that project?
Yeah, so basically what happened was that we, like me and my brother, we are both like into building projects, and so like we wanted to build a hologram project. So you might have seen like there are some kind of holographic pyramids that people make with like plastic sheets, and they keep it on a mobile screen, and from reflection you see some holograms, and it appears as if it's a 3D holographic projection. So so that is where the idea came from, that we wanted to make a holographic projection on a larger scale, and for that we needed something that can look good and that can be practical also. So yeah, so for that we got, like, I started looking into making a simulation of Starlink satellites that are orbiting the Earth. So, uh, like, so for that I got into 3D software, which is Blender, to like make the simulation. It is an open source software, and the good thing about Blender is that it works with Python and C++ also. So like it has an inbuilt script editor and everything. So like everything can be done with Python inside Blender. So for that, like I found some satellite data of the Starlink satellites, and like I had to go through some of the maths of orbital mechanics, that how to calculate the orbit of a satellite given some of the parameters. So yeah, there are websites from where you can get the satellite data, because like it is a quite common use case of calculating the orbit of satellites to use so that you can make predictions. And for that there is a data representation which is known as a TLE, data two line element, and it gives
Okay.
you many properties of the orbit, like the eccentricity and stuff like that. So basically I wrote a Python code which calculated the orbit, the position, and the position vector basically for the satellite, and made a simulation for that. And yeah, that, and then I made a cinematic video from that animation, and I posted it on YouTube and shared it on Reddit.
Right. That sounds very interesting. Yeah. So, can you tell us about where you started building stuff like this? Like, what was your setup back then when you started with robotics, and what is your setup right now?
Okay, so yeah, I like so the one of the first uh, like I started way back in school only. So like one of the first projects I made was in our school only, in the 10th standard. So it was basically on our floor where the 10th class was there. So they had a water tank above our classroom, and whenever it got filled, the water used to run out in a balcony beside our class. So and from that, like I started looking around that time only. I started looking into electronics as a hobby and making projects. And for that, I made a project of automatically like controlling the motor, the water pump basically, that pumps water inside the tank, so that whenever it got filled, the pump can automatically shut down. And I made that. That was one of the first projects which I made, because like that struck an interest in my mind for electronics, and like I gave it to the school to implement. And like I even visited the roof of the school with the electrician, and like investigated everything, but like it was not doable at that time because of some technical issues. But
Uh,
yeah, that was the major beginning of making projects. And even
right.
though I get like I have an elder brother, and I saw him. He's from a software background. He is from the Android engineering background, and I saw him making stuff, and like I got in got interested in engineering as a field, and my interest was mainly in hardware at that time. So that's where I
Right.
started.
Uh, right. So, Abhi, what does your setup contain of? Like,
Like so from that time I was like even afraid to buy a single board, because I was afraid of messing something up. But now, from that to having that 3D printer, which you can see back.
oh, you have a 3D printer. Wow,
Yeah,
that is really cool.
yeah.
So,
So like
that is impressive.
quite a bit have changed. So like I have so where I am sitting right now, it's a dedicated room for my setup only. And like I
Oh,
have I like here you can see the project is there, like the Yantra project which I am building. If you can see the
some
tires and
project.
the robotic arm is
Uh,
there, and there is a 3D printer. The whole like I I think I can bring it here also. Just a second. So,
it would be
yes.
very nice of you to bring it here.
Yeah, so this is a project. This is the Yantra robot which we are building. So this is the mobile base, and this base and the whole arm, it is 3D printed with
Uh-huh.
this printer only. Yeah.
Right.
So
Oh, this is really cool.
yeah.
So
So basically,
yeah,
this arm is used for like it moves and it picks and places stuff inside
system.
things. Yeah.
Oh, oh,
And
this is
yeah. So like the setup has come quite a long way from the time that I was even afraid to buy a small like 400 rupee board, because like there is one thing about electronics is that you will burn stuff. Eventually you have to like burn some of the chips, then only you will learn.
this.
Yeah.
Then you will learn. Yeah. So yeah, that was all about it. Thank you for watching, and yeah, you can connect to Jasmeet with the details given below in the description. So yeah, thanks for watching.
So that was the video, guys. If you liked the video, let us know by clicking on the like button. Share your thoughts by commenting down below, and of course, subscribe to Insight to never miss any of our future videos.